Well, it's good to be back with you again for another brief devotion. I've titled this devotion, So Very Thankful. It's just been a few days after Thanksgiving, so that's still kind of on our minds, hopefully all the time. You know, I find it interesting that the Word of God, the Bible, has to command us to be thankful, as if by nature we don't know how to be thankful. The Lord seems to know something maybe we don't realize. It seems that we in humanity, we're kind of born into this world as survivors of the fittest, demanders for our own benefit. There are people that they're just takers, and they feel they're entitled by the overflow of those that are givers, and if you don't think that's true, just try to take away a bottle from a baby as they're enjoying their meal. I think it should be noted that being thankful and grateful is probably one of the most undervalued virtues. No doubt we can be thankful if we find ourselves in the right kind of circumstance. For example, if we're the recipient of something, just something wonderful, unexpected, for our advantage, we can be thankful. I've experienced over the years personally a homeless person, for example, on their last leg, and they look you straight in the eye and they give you a sincere and humble thanks just for a sandwich. But I've also witnessed people who got mad and cursed and stormed out of a food pantry because there wasn't any meat on that particular day. So when it comes to God, I think few realities fan the flames of our love for God and worship of Him as thanksgiving, as gratitude. And I believe that is why thanksgiving is commanded and often exhorted in the Bible. Let's read Psalms 92, 1 through 4. The writer says, It's good to give thanks to the Lord and to sing praises to His name, to declare His steadfast love in the morning and His faithfulness by night, to the music of the lute and the harp and the melody of the lyre. For you, O Lord, have made me glad by your work. The works of your hand I sing for joy. I can say from personal experience that I say thank you to people. Maybe they open the door for me. Maybe they let me in the line that's a long line waiting for something. Maybe they're handing me something I need at the moment. And sometimes those thank yous can be more out of habit than truly from a sincere heart of gratitude. Not a bad thing, saying thank you, even if it is a habitual response. But I do believe that for us to be in a state of real thanksgiving, real joy of gratitude and appreciation, there has to be an accompanying heart of humility and contentment. And I think that's why Paul wrote in his letter to a young man named Timothy, but godliness with contentment is where you'll find the gain. For we brought nothing into the world, we can take nothing out of the world. So if we have food and clothing, we will be content with these. In closing, why is godly humility and contentment important to being thankful and joyful? Well, I think it's this: when we are content with the very basics of human life, anything beyond that seems like an enormous blessing, where thanksgiving to our God is intensified and made real. Something to think about, dear friends. Until next time, be thankful.